Oh man. What's up, everybody? A second. I'm gonna get situated here. This is so bright. My light. Oh gosh. I'm gonna have to get a better setup in general. Yeah, this light is like crazy, crazy bright. Come on, man. Come on, man. Gotta get my lighting set up here. I gotta see all my junk I've got in my office. Some of this. All right. Gosh, that is so bright. Oh no. What's up? I might just turn this off, to be honest. It's driving me crazy. Um, what's going on? I think my lighting should be okay now. I'm not going to use this actually. I don't think it's just way too bright. We're gonna hang out for a few minutes before we get things rolling. Yeah, I mean, I'm on my lunch break technically right now, so um, and I love coming on here. It helps pass some of the long days. Let me see if I can't get this a little bit better too. All right, it should be better. Yeah, I mean, I guess I've got some topics to discuss. There's been some things going on, so yeah, I'll wait another couple minutes or whatever. But what's up, James? How are you, man? What do you do for work, James? I was curious about that. I mean, your name is James Webb Fitness. I don't know if you do any like fitness coaching or anything like that, but yeah, I am curious because it's always interesting. Like, um, at least with my schedule, I have some flexibility. I'm involved in a few different like businesses and stuff. Old account. I used to own a personal training business. Hey man, like the online coaching space, I mean, you can do a lot there. There's a guy, I think his name's like Cody something here in Utah that has like a retic or two that he does a lot of fitness stuff as well. I forget taller than Titans, I think is his username on IG. Nice guy. I haven't met up with him. Um, so yeah, working from home is nice. I mean, historically, I've been in like tech sales and merchant processing. I've been like a business savings consultant and specialist for the last couple of years. So I work with a lot of different companies and entrepreneurs and help their companies save money on their mainly their merchant processing, but also like the shipping side of things too. So that's been really fun. And then I don't know, I'm always in like a handful of different things. I can't just sit down and do like a 9 to 5. That's just not how I'm wired. Corporate America just is not my jam, but sometimes it's a necessary thing for some folks. But it really is kind of an interesting time when you think about where things are going. I mean, a lot of people are scared about AI, and I think AI will, with the adoption of some of the technologies coming out, I think is going to change a lot of things, and a lot of different roles are going to change. But I also think there's going to be a lot of opportunity. I think there's going to definitely be a time where people are out of work, probably I would say probably in a year and a half, 2 years, because it's going to take a while for a lot of these like AI agents that are kind of like a task manager for some of these folks to take over and actually do some of these roles, more complex, more complex tasks, so to speak, right? So I don't know. It's a crazy time we're living in. I mean, I was born in '92, so I'm 33, and my my generation has just been through it all. I feel like we went from the internet boom to 9/11 to uh, you know social media, cell phones. I mean, there's just been so many advances in technology, and I feel like in my generation. So, um, But anyway, just I wanted to hop on here and talk about, well, first and foremost, I wanted to talk about what we've got kind of planned tomorrow. I know Rodney wants to start doing uh, like a next gen broadcast, is kind of how we've labeled it, where we're able to go live across hopefully 4 or 5 different platforms across a couple different, pages on different platforms too. So I'm hoping we can be live streaming anywhere between 6 to 8 different places, which will be awesome. So we're planning on scheduling those every Wednesday between like 5:30 and 6:30 Eastern time, or they'll start at 5:30 is what I meant by that, and then they'll go for probably an hour. And so we're hoping to live stream on Rodney's channel, my channel, Next Gen, maybe a couple other pages, potentially my Facebook page, the Next Gen Instagram, and we'll see if there's any other platforms that we could potentially live stream from. But I'm really excited for that because, you know, really the goal of the whole Next Gen thing has been to give other people exposure and to really help other breeders get their faces out there as well, especially the people that might struggle with putting content out or don't put content out. There's a lot of faces that people have not seen. And so I feel like in order to be successful, like, being able to put a face to a name and not just look at a handle or a brand or something, you'll be able to connect with more people. So I'm excited to give people that platform and exposure. I know there was a ton of drama yesterday on that topic, and we'll kind of dive into a little bit of that and just kind of my take on everything when it comes to some of that drama. But I think ultimately, I'm very passionate about helping other keepers, helping other breeders, and oh, and by the way, update that F1 Calistoa sold. I don't know if you guys saw that my last live. I think it was on Saturday, but she sold technically under 24 hours. So that was really cool to see, and found a great home for her. It's actually someone here in Utah that's wanting to add to their current collection. And he'll probably come out and say something along the way. But anyway, for the time being, I'm just glad she's going to a really good home, and we were able to make a deal relatively quickly. So that was really cool. That was really cool, like really fun to see, and kind of put that to the test where I didn't make any posts about it. I literally just threw it up on my story and was able to find a really good home for her. So um, that gives me just a lot of confidence going into this breeding season, where be able to find really good homes for my stuff is important to me. It's not so much just about selling my animals. It's about finding the right people in the right homes and being able to help them with their projects or some of the long-term visions that they have for their stuff is really important to me too. So one thing I have noticed with just some of the updates on my end is my head OGS has not really come off food. I just fed her last night. I pulled the male out. My super dwarf from Daniel Solis also took a meal last night. I think they both need another shed cycle to be ready in terms of ovulating. My Kaiwadi female is actually on the hotspot side now, or I use heat pads. So on the hot side or warm side, she's been sitting there and has not moved for the last 2 days. So I'm hoping this is a good sign that things are like progressing and she's kind of warming up. And I'm hoping that she's, follicles are growing or she's gravid, or, who knows what's happening at that point. But I am really excited to just kind of see where everything goes on that front. So yeah, we're just taking it one day at a time. Those are some of like my personal updates. I don't know if you guys have any updates on your guys' end, or any questions or topics or things you guys want to ask. But if you do, shoot away, because the last thing I want to do is just be on here and monologuing for for 30 minutes or 40 minutes. I can. I think I can, but I'd prefer to chat with you guys. Um, so, when it comes to some of the drama, I mean, if you guys, I didn't even really read all of it or look into it that much. I mean, I kind of got a 30,000-foot overview of, where Rodney's at and where some of these admins from the Retic Nation, if that's, Jake and Weston, and I think I don't know if it might be Travis Warren, some other people over there. I don't know. It's a strange thing. I see it from both sides, but ultimately, um, being an admin on Next Gen and kind of seeing what has been happening over the last like 4 months, 4 or 5 months, where Rodney has really tried to dial things back in terms of like going out of his way and making fun of people, or just trying to mess with people too much. And uh, in return, I feel like he's gotten more crap than ever before. And so that's just been kind of my perspective, because I've been around for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now, whatever it's been. And Rodney is pretty it's pretty well documented that he'll go out and make statements and correct misinformation or correct things that are being said. um if it's about cold hard facts when it comes to retics, or about certain people doing disingenuous things in the community. I mean, I can't tell you how many people have reached out to Rodney over the last 2, 3 years because they didn't want to come out and be the bad guy about certain topics. So it always gets funneled to Rodney, and it's always Rodney's fault. And yeah, people might have this one-sided perspective, like, oh, he's an a-hole or whatever, which he can be. I'm not saying he can't be. He definitely can be, but he's also been the guy that, you know, exposed and dropped all the Samson stuff. He was talking about, the misinformation that Garrett was putting out years before people kind of came full circle and came around to that information of, Garrett telling people that stuff's going to stay, 6 feet or under. I mean, it's just crazy. And so he's the guy that's been kind of the chief of police, and so I think he gets a bad rap. And yeah, I think the delivery a lot of times is not polished and refined, but he shoots straight. And so essentially what we've seen is, like, over the last 4 or 5 months since we really started ramping things up with next gen, is this influx of people. And I want to say it's a good thing, because I love having other people start podcasts and start making content and like doing things again. I think it's great for the community. I mean, I want to be able to tune into more content too. But, I don't know, there was multiple podcasts that popped up after us, after we started doing the podcast. Um, and, people kind of started coming out of the woodwork and then trying to find ways into our group, and trying to attack Rodney and like following him into the next gen group. And these are people that hate Rodney, but they're following kind of his every move. And so it's just it's kind of gotten to the point where, Rodney woke up, and I think he's just kind of like, hey, like, if I'm gonna basically allow people in here that I know hate me or don't like me, and I'm gonna give you guys a platform, I'm not gonna say a peep about you guys posting your animals in here or what you're doing or whatever. It's a free market in this group, but you're still gonna block me from a platform that you can't even give me a good reason why I'm blocked. You know what I mean? It's an issue. So I think that's kind of where everything stemmed from. And I see it from both sides. I just think it is a little bit weird that some of those admins, say that the group has changed and it's better and all this kind of stuff, but it's like, who are they protecting by keeping Rodney out? I mean, I don't know. Like, it doesn't make sense. Um, and he's been, I think, kicked out and brought back into the nation a couple different times, but a lot of the people that really don't like Rodney or haven't liked him for years are no longer in retics. They've gotten out or they've downsized drastically. So it just a lot of it doesn't make sense. And it's kind of just like holding on to this grudge where, I feel like we've really tried to extend an olive branch in a couple different ways. And it is what it is. But once again, it at the end of the day, we're gonna keep plugging along and try to promote other people, and that's the goal of this whole thing is like if we can. I was even telling Rodney, I was like, at the end of the year, if we could if we could show the group like we basically helped breeders from our group move X amount of animals or whatever from sharing on our platform, or be able to have like some metrics or analytics and like a report of the positive things that happened from them sharing either on the lives or on podcasts or whatever. Like, that's the other thing. Rodney is reaching out actively to people to come on the podcast. We've had people like ask to come on too, but he's proactively going out trying to get people promoted. That's the other thing. Is like he'll see somebody drop a clutch and he's like, "Hey, we should ask this person to go on," or whatever. It's like, yeah, our history's been kind of back and forth, whatever. I'm on good terms with them. Like, let's get him on the podcast, right? Um, so I think the drama or once again, it's like the delivery might not be always the best, but there is some rationale behind kind of where Rodney's at with that. It's unfortunate. I mean, I don't personally have any real beef with anybody. Weston lives like 15, 20 minutes away from me. And I think he's doing some really cool stuff. I've followed him for years and I still haven't checked out his facility. I want to go check it out. But I don't carry any hard feelings towards those guys. I mean, even with Jake, it's like I think some of these guys are caught between, they're caught in this weird spot where it's like they have this loyalty to the quote unquote these OGs, but then on the flip side, they also see like we're trying to do a good thing and they want to be a part of that or they want to be included. Um, but then it's like the loyalty gets like it pulls them back. I don't know. I really don't know why. Um, but I don't have any personal beef really with anybody. I mean, even if people disagree with me or they don't like me per se, it's like I mean it's a people can have their opinions. I mean, there was even a couple people on the group on some of my posts or whatever that made some snarky remarks about one of my breedings and some of these other things, and it's just like, it is what it is. I'm not going to kick you out because you don't like what I'm doing. That's that's ludicrous. You can have your opinion, but and I even explained because I messaged Jake briefly, or we messaged on Facebook yesterday, and I just said, look, man, like we've maybe kicked out one or two people out of the next gen group since we started, and the only reason why we kicked those people out is because they were making personal attacks with no backing or evidence. We asked them to stop multiple times or to take it, offline or whatever, and they wouldn't. Like they just simply like refused to do that. Or, I think it was Brian Watkins. I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was actually Brian Watkins or it was somebody maybe trying to pose for Brian Watkins, but he was getting a hold and screenshotting stuff from the page and then going off on his page and then not letting people in and blocking people, and it was just this whole weird thing. So, I mean, those are really the only cases. I mean, we've had people disagree, and I think having like cordial, respectful disagreements are actually really good. And the problem is, it's like the classic line from all these bigger breeders on, oh, I don't get involved in drama, I don't make any comments or remarks or whatever, and it's like, well, that's why there is drama, because you don't address anything. You don't address anything. You don't stand for anything. You're trying to take this like middle ground, high road stance of neutrality, where I don't stand for anything, so I'll basically fall for everything. It's like no backbone, won't speak out, and there's certain breeders that are in that position, and at some point, you're gonna have to stand up for yourself or for your morals or for like what you feel like is good. And like I said, we're gonna have disagreements, and that's perfectly fine. But it's just stupid. Um, Let me see. I'm gonna go to the chat. Needs to. I got an SD in December. April 25 has grown so much in the last 2 months. Common time for growth spurt or underfed from the breeder. How old? Born April of 25. So he's not that old. He's under a year old. Um, those first couple years, they can really grow. So I just keep feeding them, James. I don't know if you're planning on using or breeding him or anything like that, but excuse me, a lot of breeders will keep their males small. They'll maintain or underfeed. Um, I mean, people do it. So if you got it from a breeder, they could have underfed or just maintenance fed them, which I don't really agree with. But Randy needs to almost be a fresh start to push retics forward. Some people might think there's too much water under the bridge to get over things, hoping everyone will get on the same page, even if it's just for a time to push things forward. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree. It's really stupid, and even this whole like mainland versus locality or super dwarf thing. It's dumb. I mean, you see what Mason over at Mayray Exotics is doing with localities, large localities. I mean, it's amazing. It's awesome. I think what Mason is doing, like if you're into big snakes, is the way to go. Like moving forward, I think localities are the answer, and then using those localities to make better looking morphs. But if you're a mainland breeder just doing morphs, same old morphs over and over again, you're not going to get anywhere. I'm sorry. Like I truly believe that. Um, and then with locality stuff, medium size, whatever, so much of that stuff hasn't been worked with. And then with the super dwarf stuff, people are going people are going to continue to market and fight that when it comes to sizes, when it comes to percentage. I mean, I don't think that's ever going to stop. But I think what has stopped, luckily, is the idea, for the most part, that these animals are going to stay 6 to 7 feet, and that's been really really good in my opinion for everybody. Um, it's not a good place to start, because and I think that's a big reason why Garrett has had some issues, is because a lot of the stuff that he sold 2018, 2019, 2020, that's actually being fed, that stuff is not staying extremely small. It's not. Um, and so it's kind of contradicting a lot of the content that he put out back in the day, you know. And I'm not going to try to get you know, too whatever about it, but if you go and you go and watch some of Garrett's old videos, like you cannot tell me that there was not a strategy and a game plan behind the content that he was putting out. You will never sell me on that he was just like he was ignorant and he was just putting out this information because that's what he knew at the time. Go watch any of his old videos about localities, sizing, any of that stuff. And what is the common denominator and all that? It fit whatever was his marketing push at the time to sell snakes, plain and simple. So I highly encourage you guys to go look at some of his old content that's still up on YouTube that people are still watching. Um, it sucks for new people. I love Retic Nation. I plan to do the same with some other groups. I mean, it sucks because it's like the same people a lot of times are posting in those group or in those groups, and it's not from my experience at least. Like if if you're not extremely accurate with every little thing you say in those groups, you get torched. And that's not cool. I mean, like imagine a new keeper or breeder coming into one of those groups and asking a very simple question. What do you think the responses are going to be most of the time? I mean, it's usually not going to be good. Well, and it's funny too because like some of the questions that are posed in those groups are just like to ego stroke. I don't know if you guys have noticed some of that, but it's like, hey, like who are the best breeders in the space? And then people will like if you read through those comments, there's people in there literally just nominating themselves. You know what I mean? Like it's nutty. It's actually nutty. And yeah, I mean, there's some salty people in our community that have burned bridges and they're trying to be relevant again. And I refuse to give them an audience or any kind of exposure, but I'll just leave it at that. There's a lot of people that have wronged people in this space, and now they're upset because the market is moving on. And I mean, it's happening in real time. So I'll just leave it. I'll leave that at that as well. But yeah, I think in order to move forward, it is refreshing to have a lot of these, myself included, being a brand new breeder that has no idea what he's doing, um, connect with some of these other newer keepers and these other newer breeders and share experiences. Brian, I know that we've gone back and forth on a few different things. Randy, I know that you're getting things moving. You've always been super positive. So it's just there's there's a really good group of people coming up that I'm excited for. And I hope we can just kind of like roll up the past because that's the other problem is you get a lot of these newer people coming in, they have no idea what the history or context is behind some of these outbursts and some of these back and forths. I mean, and it's an issue because it runs really, really deep. You guys watched Rodney's live from yesterday. He kind of lays out the context pretty thoroughly about some of those things, at least in regards to what happened yesterday. So yeah, and I do my best. And Rodney's been. I talk to Rodney pretty frequently, and it's like um, him and I are very, very different in a lot of ways, but he has really been trying to be like, dude, no, we gotta keep this positive. We gotta give people a really good platform that they can show off their stuff, talk about their clutches, talk about their pairings, and get more exposure. And I mean, look at anybody else that has a platform in the RETA community, and it's like, how many of those people are actually trying to like really push other people's stuff? Normally, it's like throughout the year they'll have people on or whatever, but when it comes to like breeding and selling, hatchling season, it's all about just them. And that's what it is. And historically speaking, that's what I've seen. So it's like if we can make this about everybody and keep it positive and learn from other people and learn about, you know, I feel like the people that have come on the podcast or lives or they're active in the group, you know, we're learning things and we need to learn things from other people because when we're looking at these localities and looking at what they do, when we're trying to selectively breed and some of the outcomes, the more outcomes we can see from different breedings, the better everything is going to get. So that's just kind of my logic behind it all. And I think I mentioned this on the last live, but there's always somebody, dude, that pops on or watches this live after it's done and will come on and like dislike every single one of my lives. And it's so funny to me. So I'm like, dude, I think I know who you are, dude. Just relax. Calm down. Calm down, man. Not stirring the pot that much. So, um, yeah, what else is going on, guys? We got, I don't know who else is on here. We got Brian, Randy, James. I don't know if you guys are still on here, but what else is going on? I know we've got more clutches being dropped. We've got from some different people. We've got Rob mentioned on from Island Morphs. Rob Roush mentioned he has, I think, a Super Maluku clutch or is using his Super Maluku in a pairing, and I don't know exactly what that is, but I need to chat with him. What's up, Rob? Need to chat with him. What else is going on? I know we've got a bunch of Karampas hitting the market soon. Jen's been crushing it. I don't know how many babies she has available, but Jen's got, I don't know. I would say she's probably got probably 60 babies on the ground. So yeah, if you guys are ever wanting really good locality stuff, I mean, there's some. I think there's going to be some really killer Karampas. And what I would do is I'd be hopping on, getting a look at what those babies look like, and trying to pick out some really cool back patterns. Trying to pick something up from that. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to looking forward, and a big reason why I think I explained this too a little bit last on the last live from on Saturday, but um, a big reason why I got rid of that F1 Calatillo is I've had that Anery female's Postet purple from Garrett. She's like 89 point something percent super dwarf and like 6% jamp. So she's like, I don't know, 94, 95% super dwarf, visual Anery Posset purple. And I'm trying to prove her out next year, because if she proves out at purple, uh, it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be really cool. So, um, what else is going on? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to just, I think I talked briefly earlier about the broadcast that we're going to be doing tomorrow, 5:30 Eastern time. We're going to try to get on 7 or 8 different pages slash platforms. So it's going to be Rodney's YouTube channel, mine. We're going to be on Next Gen streaming, probably be on my Facebook page streaming. We're going to try to be everywhere on the Next Gen Instagram. And then we should be able to consolidate at least all the ones that have a chat feature. Like the entire chat will show up, I think, on the actual live in Riverside. So it's going to be really fun, and hopefully we can just continue to grow that. And I think, like I said, for whatever Wednesdays, whatever Rodney's called it now, I think people will be able to come on and talk about stuff as well, which will be great. Be great for you guys to just come on and market your stuff. And yeah, it'll be interesting. I talked well, I was in a group message with Eric, but sounds like the Peru trip was awesome and the mosquitoes were insane down in Peru. But I was like, man, I next time Andrew goes down, I'm gonna have to find a way to get down to Peru. I think that would just be so sick. I was just so jealous because it looked like a pretty good group too. And Ryan Conkey and Eric and Andrew, and I'm trying to remember who else was kind of down there at the same time. But have you guys seen all the retic stuff in Puerto Rico? I think we talked a little bit about this too before, but I feel like I'm seeing more and more videos on Instagram of people just catching wild retics in Puerto Rico, where it's really becoming a kind of an issue. But there's a lot of albinos apparently, once again, that are being caught in the wild. But I've seen like multiple just in the last like 2 days, 4 or 5 different people or different animals and stuff finding albinos in Puerto Rico. So you must have a good group of albinos out there, which is pretty sick. So yeah, I would love to go down to Puerto Rico and do some different things there. And then yeah, what else is happening? What other topics? Any questions you guys have? You guys have anything cooking in the incubator? I know Brian, when does your clutch is supposed to be dropping what in the next 2 weeks or something? I think that's what you said. I forget what date you actually said there. Um, yeah, I've been tempted. I've been thinking a lot about like that Homa Kaiwadi cross thing I want to do. Expected date is March 2nd. That's sick, man. Oh, I'm so excited for you. Hopefully everything is good with that clutch. She looks pretty big. She looks pretty massive. She's rolling all over. Yeah, and that one video you got what, 1,000,000 views, 1,000,000 hits on that. So yeah, no, I mean it's been cool. I need to hit up May Ray. I need to go to his facility. I need to hit up Weston and go to his facility if he lets me. And then you guys have obviously heard of like Clint's reptiles and stuff like that. I would love to do a video there, but just start working on some more long form content. There hasn't been much in terms of updates with some of my females. I've got my Kaiwadi. She's on the hot side or the warm side now again, and she's hasn't moved in a couple days. So I think she's hopefully she's building, or hopefully she's gravid, or whatever. The male is not as actually this is his second or third day in, and he was they were going at it night one, and now he's trying to kind of get away, and she's just hanging out. So I'm hoping things are moving in the right direction. So 1.5 million, that's crazy, dude. Wow. 10 foot, 25 pounds, 1.5 million. I can't believe, because usually when you have a really good video hit, if it's on YouTube Shorts or Instagram, the life of that is usually like 24 hours. And sometimes it'll come back and sometimes it'll ramp up again. But yeah, that's nuts. It's still going. That's awesome. Good for you. How many followers have you gotten? A bunch of followers from that, Brian? You think? I had one that was a video of my daughter taking out, actually, it was that F1 Kalatoa when she was only, uh, that F1 was probably only a year old. She was super tiny, and then my daughter was probably 3 and a half, and that one steadily climbed for about a week. I think it's at 3 million total. 300 followers, that's nice. That's awesome. Yeah, when it comes to content, I I tell people it's nuts. You work really hard on certain videos, and you think you're gonna get a bunch of hits, and then it's a dud, and then you throw something up that you're just like, "Hey, this is kinda cool," and it goes to the moon. So, yeah, I mean, some of the weird ones, like, I did, like, a time lapse with that super phantom at my desk, just, like, working or pretending to work or whatever, and, that one got, I don't know, 300,000 views in 2 days or something. So, you never know, but it is kinda fun to play around. But as long as you're doing stuff that's a little bit different and trying to mix it up and figure out what sticks the best, that's the best strategy, I think. And obviously, you'll just have your normal videos where you're talking about stuff or you're sharing babies or whatever. But I mean, even some of those egg videos or those hatchling videos and stuff, I think do can do really, really well, showing people what like a clutch of eggs, retic eggs look like, or having holding up a ball of retic babies, I think would do really well. Um, yeah, I'm kind of on the same page, Brian. Like my personal Instagram, like I don't really share any of my kids for the most part. Um, it's a crazy world out there, man. It's a crazy world, but yeah, I mean, I think the strategy is, if you're posting at least once a week, I think you're going to be in a good spot. Like something like meaningful, meaning like not just like a 2-second clip of you like holding a snake, but you're taking a longer video or making an edit or doing something. I think that makes a world of difference. Just to have your name constantly kind of out there on people's feed, and then sharing your story too, like just showing people that you're active on Instagram makes a big difference. So Yeah, and when when you're building this content, if you're just a, you're a keeper and you're trying to build your following, or if you're a breeder that down the road you're looking to potentially sell animals or find your ideal customers, find good homes for your stuff. I think you need to kind of build towards that. And the best way to do that I found is just start with kind of your why. Like what makes you so passionate about retics, and then try to build content off of that. And then also what kind of makes you unique. Obviously you as an individual make your content unique, but like what are you doing that might be unique in the space, or people can look at your stuff and be like, hey, that's just different. And that's what's, I feel like, so dumb about people fighting over stuff. I mean, like husbandry. Obviously, I think everybody knows what bad husbandry looks like, or should have an idea of what bad husbandry looks like. We've seen a lot of that. But when it comes to just kind of more plain setups to naturalistic to bioactive, there's kind of a wide range of how you can do some of that. And a lot of people coming into the space, I think it's hard for them to decide what they want to do. And so being able to be unique and share like what works for you, how do you have things set up? There's so many different ways to set up these animals and have them live a long and healthy and happy life, that to have just like this cookie cutter setup or this cookie cutter way of doing things, I think is kind of stupid. So I think sharing your journey is a big part of that. And then when I started, I was like, okay, what's going to really make me unique? And it was it really just started with my enclosures. Like I wanted to build something was that I hadn't personally really seen before in our space, and I wanted to spend a lot of time. I also spent I also spent quite a bit of money on it, and that wasn't necessarily on purpose, but that just kind of came with my vision of how I wanted to set these up and to build these out and to do all of that. And then now I'm kind of going through this phase where do I go through the same process this year, because I'm probably going to pick up. I'm probably this summer. I'm going to look at picking up 5 6 foot enclosures. So it's like, okay, how do I want to do that? Because I will have some hatchling racks for babies and stuff, but um, for a lot of my adult stuff or even some of my grow up stuff, I want to have space to be able to show them off and give them room and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, it'll be really fun. It'll be really fun to kind of build that out and figure out what happens. My wife's not super happy about me taking over half the other room in the basement, but she's getting a cut. So she's getting cut in on the business. So she's like, okay. Um yeah, my kids are excited as well. They're pretty bummed that we had to get rid of that female, but I kind of explained to them like, hey, this is this is part of the process. I know we've had her for 4 years and it's tough. It's tough to say goodbye, but we also have to potentially get ready for babies and then expansion and some of these other things. So I'm kind of glad that I've had to go through 4 years of just maintaining and keeping and growing up a lot of my stuff, because I bought all my stuff I mean, 2 years or younger. Um, Most of my stuff was 6 months or younger on that side. But yeah, it's been cool to kind of go through the last 4 years and just focus on all that, be patient, and then now, in terms of having to even cut back and get rid of one of my females that I raised up, I think it's been really good for me, because I'm the type of person that can get really obsessed and kind of go all in really fast. And so it's forced me to kind of delay the gratification of the whole process. And that's why we're doing the breeding 101 series on my YouTube channel. And I want to clarify, because I think there's been some remarks online from certain individuals saying like, there's breeders that haven't bred yet that are giving all this advice. Um, I'm just sharing how big of a noob I am on my channel. That's all I'm doing. I'm not telling people what to do. In fact, Rodney is I'm basically just asking questions and Rodney is helping me through the whole process like in real time with what's happening, you know, in my snake room through this breeding season. So I want to clarify like I'm just observing and asking questions and learning because I don't know what the hell I'm doing, you know? So I just want to set the record straight from people that are talking smack because I felt like there's certain individuals that are constantly hating, just stupid. Um, get over yourself. Um, yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting how things play out. But if you guys have clutches in the incubator, if you guys have babies, if you guys are just keeping, like it doesn't matter. Like you don't have to be a breeder to come on the podcast. You don't have to be a breeder to come on the lives, you know? Like we've had people come on that like they live in a state where retics aren't even legal. So and they just are passionate about retics, you know, and they're trying to find a way to get a permit or maybe move or whatever. So you gotta um just know it's an open invite, you know. What else is going on? Is there anything else going on? I know we've been on this for 45 minutes. I don't want to take this too long. Just kind of burning some lunchtime on the clock. Just kidding. I don't have a clock. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to think what else is kind of happening or going on right now. Well, it's interesting because I saw Weston's clutch. He actually doesn't have too many of those crosses. Those 75 Sula, 25% Malaysian crosses. I don't know how many he has. I think is it under 15? Maybe it's even under 10. So I think they look great. And on his reel on Instagram, I think it was number two. No, it was number three, I think was his pick. I thought that snake looked freaking amazing. So like I said, hopefully everybody can play nice, but if not, that's okay too. Like we're gonna keep doing our thing and um, we'll just take it one day at a time. That's all you can do. People get so caught up in this drama and stuff or this back and forth, but a lot of this is OG drama too. There's a lot of history, and I mean, I don't even know the full scope of most stuff that happens. I just see the reactions from from both sides. um, but yeah, man. I mean, I try to stay positive. I love Duran, man. He is like the most. He is the eternal optimist. But I've talked to Duran in real life. I met him at Retic Fest summer of what was it 2022. I love Duran, man. He's a good dude. He's a good dude, and he always tries to be the peacekeeper, and I love it. Every time Duran comments, I'm like, I know he's gonna try to fix this. I can fix that. You know, I love it, man. I love Duran. He's a good dude. Um, but yeah, well, Rob is still doing the trap talk podcast. I think on MJ's channel, if I'm not mistaken. Is that every 2 weeks? Does anybody know like when that drops? I've only seen I think one episode, but yeah, hopefully Rob does well with some of that stuff. I know um, Jake's been firing things up on Retic Radio on his podcast. I think he's having Paul Lucas on this upcoming week or something. That should be fun. Um, yeah, it was a good time. That podcast was really fun with Weston and Paul. I had a good time. I didn't say much, but that's because they were all talking about stuff that was out of my wheelhouse a little bit, and you know, those guys have a lot more history than I have with pretty much anybody, just because they've been around for eons. But yeah, it is every 2 weeks, Rob. Yeah, I mean, Rob's doing his own thing with Island Morphs, and I mean, I think it's gonna be really cool to see what comes out these next like 3 or 4 months from everybody and how things look. I think there's going to be a lot of availability for some locality stuff, or I should say, not all locality, some locality stuff. Um, Halmas for Rod. I think Rodney's got pretty much every locality uh, on the books this year. Hopefully, his Sulas go too. That would be really sick. Big clutch of Sulas. I'm not trying to jinx him though, because I I know. And then I think he's got, what does he have? Does he have those granite back super dwarfs that supposedly went, that she, fingers crossed, is dropping a good clutch. So visual anthrax super dwarf, 50% super dwarf stuff. I mean, that would be cool. But from what I've heard, breeding super dwarfs can be a lot trickier or tougher than some of these other bigger localities for whatever reason. I don't know if that's true or not, because like I said, what do I know? But that's just something Rodney told me. Is that's why he stopped breeding super dwarfs for the most part, because he just they get egg bound or they have issues, and they'll take you through the roller coaster of emotions. And those are his words, not mine. So yeah, I really want to. I was even thinking about like Halmas. Like I want to probably want to pick up a male Halma this year. That's something I want to do, but it needs to be a very specific looking Halma. What I want. Um, I want something that's just as black as physically possible. Like not one of the lighter ones. Like I want it like as dark as I can get it for a couple different projects. So I want to do the Coyote Cross. I just keep thinking about that pairing. I was like, dude, that would just be so sick. I think they would look really, really cool. Um, and then Hallman to I mean, the is anybody doing albino or purple Halmas or hets, making hets this year? I thought I heard somebody was doing something with Halmas on the albino side. I think ternates. There's 50% ternate hets that are coming. Is that who is that? Is that Randy? I'm trying to remember. I don't know. I can't wait to see the first 50% ternate purple. I really don't think I really think the amount of weight that some of these localities have in these breedings is significantly higher than some of the other stuff out there. If it's like if you think about taking like a Kalatoa to a purple, and like the ending results, or let's say two hets or whatever, and the end result, you can make some decent looking purples. But I'm very interested to see what, like, how much pull Ternate has, or the Mindanaos or Halmas, like what that really pulls in terms of contrast, thickness on, just the design or the purple piece on those purples. I just think it's going to look really, 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 really cool. Like, and Weston even mentioned on our podcast, he's like, I don't need we there. I never see any good purples anymore, and I agree. I think Randy's got probably one of the best looking last mainland purples out there, and so it'll be cool to see people start playing around with that, because just being able to get more and more purple on there and really deepening some of the richness and the colors, like the color saturation of what that animal looks like, is and could be game changing. So I don't think it's going to take long. Like I don't think you're going to need 75% purple ternates to make good looking purples. I think the 50% ternates are going to do something really, really wacky. Um, Because I think Weston took his purple anthrax to, I don't know if it was, I think it was something het purple or whatever. And anthrax had a, the het anthrax had an effect on those purples and made their heads go white. And then Rodney kind of went into, anthrax has that effect on the head coloration where they'll go white or silver because it'll just pull that color off. So anyway, no, we've got a lot of cool things cooking, guys. So just be prepared. If your notifications aren't turned on, you should be able to tune in. If you want to tune in on Rodney's channel or my channel tomorrow on YouTube, that's probably going to be the best sure way of making sure your messages get seen. We're gonna play around because like we'll probably go live on Instagram and Facebook and some of these other things, but I don't think the comments show up on the live chat if you're watching it from Facebook. And so what we really want to do is just kind of use those other platforms to get people onto YouTube and participating like in the live chat. So just feel free tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, which I know is maybe a little bit early for some folks, but just be ready to hop on, have your notifications turned on. And I think Rodney's also going to put out a link to have people hop on. So if you guys want to show off any of your animals or talk about some of the things that you guys have seen, take a couple minutes, get your face out there. Like I highly recommend doing it and hopping on. But appreciate you guys and have a great rest of your week.